Thank you, John. Let me also welcome everybody to Athens. It's a pleasure to have you here and to be back at The Economist. Now, we have both the privilege and the burden of discussing Southeast Europe at a moment when just beyond our borders, the Middle East has turned into a theater of extraordinary change, tension, and human catastrophe. Today, in the Middle East and around the world, we get to grips with the weight of a shifting global order. The US now appears far less reliable, yet no other is ready or willing to fill the void of the international sheriff. It is a perfect storm for global instability and uncertainty. What has happened with gold over the past 6 months is telling. Gold has now become the world's second most important reserve asset. In the realm of international affairs, gold stands not just as a store of value, but as a mirror of worry. It reflects fear, fear of the unknown, fear of the unpredictable, fear that in a world where order is fading, anything can happen, and to anyone. Somehow miraculously, Greece stands relatively unfazed by all the turmoil. Greece is today perhaps the strongest and most critical pillar of stability for the EU in the southeastern region. We have turned, as you already said, John, at the page of crisis. Markets now see our sovereign bonds as safe as France's. Since 2020, Greece has slashed its debt by almost 60 percentage points. It's the kind of debt reduction you see in post-war economies. We are no longer Europe's problem child, we are its comeback story. But Greece adds much more to European peace, stability, and self-reliance than solid fiscal policy. From Suda Bay and our strategic partnership with the United States, to the port of Alexandroupolis and the energy hub we are developing there, Greece is making choices that serve the whole of Europe. Because when we protect our borders and control illegal immigration, it is Europe's borders we safeguard. When we upgrade our army through the most ambitious armament program in our modern history, it's Europe's collective defense we strengthen. And when we build infrastructure for electric connectivity with Israel and Egypt, it's Europe's energy sovereignty we advance. That is what Greece brings to the European table. That's why we remain staunch advocates for the EU integration of the Western Balkans. Because the future of Europe includes the whole of Europe. Now, let's be clear, the region isn't one story, it's many, it's complex. Serbia, for example, is proving it can bridge divides, supporting Ukraine's territorial integrity while advancing on its European path. Serbia is not just any candidate. It is a key to unlock the European Union's full potential in the Western Balkans. For that, in my opinion, we must all support its European journey. At the same time, I view recent developments in Kosovo with deep concern. As a former rapporteur for Kosovo, my position is well known. All citizens, starting with the Serbian minority, must have the right to seek protection from the European Court of Human Rights. Yet today, we see growing hostility against minorities, a massive political deadlock, and a technical government acting without the legitimacy of a functioning parliament. So this is deeply concerning. Of course, EU integration is not just about expanding the map. It also means doing more things together when that makes sense. One lesson we've learned, painfully but clearly, is the value of common funding, as Anita already said. COVID and the war in Ukraine gave us the exact example for that. Excuse me. It means growth that's not just faster, but fairer. Later you will hear Mr. Draghi. In his report, he didn't call for more national subsidies. He called for more central EU funding. National subsidies distort the single market. Investments flow not to where they're most needed, but to where they can be afforded. The result? Rising inequality between countries and within them. And we know what inequality does to societies and to democracy. What we need is not just growth at any cost, but growth that lifts all boats. That's the true promise of EU integration, and our ability to deliver on it will define the strength and resilience of our union. Finally, when we talk about EU financing and our shared future, we must be clear not only about what we are working toward, but also who we are working with. Bilaterally, member states can do business with any country. But when it comes to EU funds and institutions, especially in sensitive areas like defense, we must engage only with third countries that respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all EU member states. It is unacceptable and frankly ironic that at EU level we block good affordable cars from China on grounds of unfair competition, while some propose co-designing our defense architecture with and channeling billions to countries that still occupy large parts of EU member states and threaten another with war. And if this is not clear enough, let me be crystal clear. As long as Turkey occupies Cyprus and threatens Greece, there is no place, and there can be no place, for it at the EU table, especially on defense. Churchill once said, "The price of greatness is responsibility." If the EU truly aspires to greatness as a geopolitical force, it must first prove that it can act responsibly toward all its members. Thank you.